Good stuff. Any tips for folks or things that worked well for you in identifying those 250 uh, LPs, family offices, et cetera? Like how did you build your funnel, top of the funnel? Anything interesting there?
We spent a ton of time. So I started off with a list of the obvious usual suspects. And I think one advantage I had that I didn't appreciate again in the moment is because I'd been a seed investor for 5 years, I knew a bunch of other seed funds that were friendly to me. And I just asked them, I was like, who should I be talking to? And I think, some VCs I think there's like a two-step process. One is like, hey, here's a list of people I think you should talk to, which is different than this is a list of people that I would be comfortable introducing you to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once I sort of, for me at least, started telling people like, hey, I'm not asking you to extend yourself and vouch for Precursor. I get it. Like that's a big ask. But if you can tell me just where to look, I'll find independent paths to some of these people. I'm very confident I can get to them, but I didn't even know where to look.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I found that dramatically increased the top of funnel that we got. Yeah. And also I think we were lucky in that there weren't that many dedicated pre-seed funds at the time. There was probably Manu at K9 and a few other people. And so there was this information void that we launched into. And we were very willing to sort of tell people what we were doing and why we thought pre-seed was interesting at a time when relatively few voices were making the case. And I think that certainly started to generate LP awareness and inbound.
Interesting. At that point, did you have any, I assume probably no exits, but any that had hit pay dirt, hit the rocket ship growth, and that you could kind of hang out that this fund one is already going to return 10x, Yeah.
I wish. I mean, the hardest thing about pre-seed is if you think seed has a long holding period, CAC 18 to 24 months on it. So the biggest challenge at Fund 2 was we had companies internally that were tracking really well, but at best they'd raised the Series A.
Mm-hmm.
And so we didn't have what I would describe as like household name brand companies. And so it was hard. I could tell people like, hey, The Athletic is doing great. It's at Series A, and people would say, oh, I've never heard of it. I say, well, you will have at some point, I promise you. And so it was very hard to market the portfolio. One thing that did work, though, was marketing our co-investment relationships.
Mm.
And, some LPs really were interested in who else we co-invested with and who did our follow-ons, and other LPs were less interested. But having the ability to at least point to firms and say, these are the caliber of firms, or these are the specific names of people that we're working with that we're excited to have in our network, that did help. And I think it helped also because then those LPs could go off and ask those other GPs, hey, you've worked with this Precursor firm. What do you think of them?